Look at this, guys. This is wild. This is in The Independent. Proposed Louisiana abortion law would charge women with homicide. Legislative proposal joins state-level Republican efforts to eliminate access and criminalize care. A state legislative committee in Louisiana has advanced a bill that would criminalize abortion as homicide, in which the pregnant person or people who assist with their abortion could be charged. The bill, proposed by Republican State Representative Danny McCormick, advanced from the state's House Criminal Justice Committee by a vote of 7-2 on the 4th of May, despite at least one legislator who supported the bill, stressing that it is likely unconstitutional. Well, I don't know about that anymore. Who knows if this court would find that unconstitutional? In fact, they may, with their decision on Roe versus Wade, if anything, I lean on the side of they probably would say it is constitutional. House Bill 813 now heads to the State House of Representatives for a full vote. The bill's introduction follows a leaked opinion from the U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority that appears willing to revoke constitutional protections for abortion care affirmed by the rulings in Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey, ending health care protections for millions of Americans. Abortion remains legal in all states, though Republican legislators across the U.S. have introduced dozens of anti-abortion measures in 2022 to restrict access or eliminate it entirely, with several states targeting abortion providers with felonies, though such legislation has exempted people seeking abortions. So, is this one different? Does this one say criminalize abortion as homicide in which the pregnant person or people who assist with their abortion? Okay, so this bill takes it a step further. So it says the people who, like a doctor performing the abortion, could be guilty of a felony, in this case, homicide, or now even the woman could be charged with that now. That is something. That is something. Louisiana is among at least 16 states, see, I thought the number was 13, with so-called trigger laws in place that would make abortion care illegal and force the closures of the state's 3 remaining clinics if Roe v. Wade is overturned at the Supreme Court. So in other words, we talked about this the other day. I had read, I think the source was the New York Times, that there are 13 states with so-called trigger laws, which means the second that Roe v. Wade is overturned at the Supreme Court, immediately in these 13 states, abortion is fully illegal. Fully illegal. Now, the Independent here says it's 16 states. What I do know is this. Whether it's 13 or 16 is almost irrelevant, because within a short period of time, within a year, you'll have over 20 states, perhaps as many as 24 states, where abortion is going to be fully illegal. Now, the penalties will probably vary from state to state, but at least in Louisiana, as we're looking at now, if this bill gets through, you're talking about not only is it illegal, the woman and the doctor could face charges for homicide if it's found that they, had an abortion and did the procedure. Current restrictions on abortion care in the state include a mandatory ultrasound and state-directed counseling before a procedure, as well as a 24-hour waiting period before a procedure can be performed. Abortions for patients with health insurance plans through the state's Affordable Care Act exchange cannot be covered, and patients cannot obtain medical abortion prescriptions through telemedicine appointments. The state's trigger law would immediately ban providers from performing an abortion or providing abortion medication in all cases. So even the abortion pill, which is obviously for very early. It's not the morning after pill, but there's an abortion pill, which is for early, super early in a pregnancy. And they're saying that's going to be gone too, provided that the physicians make reasonable medical efforts to save the life of the mother and the fetus. The American Civil Liberties Union of Louisiana said the state legislative proposal is blatantly unconstitutional. Well, again, I reiterate, are you sure it will be interpreted that way by the Supreme Court? During the hearing on Wednesday, legislators were warned that the bill would also criminalize in vitro fertilizations and some forms of birth control. What? The bill would also criminalize in vitro fertilizations and some forms of birth control? Maybe the morning after pill? Are they referring to the morning after pill? Oh, Jesus Christ. Abortion restrictions across the U.S. 26 states, they say, are likely to ban abortion if the U.S. Supreme Court guts Roe v. Wade, the landmark case that affirms constitutional right to abortion care. Wow. I thought it was, the highest I read was 24. This one says 26. Jesus Christ. Earlier on Wednesday, the state's Republican Attorney General Jeff Landry said women seeking abortion in the state should pack your bags and move to California. Louisiana Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards, the only anti-abortion Democratic governor in the U.S., has declined to publicly discuss the leaked Supreme Court opinion. A spokesperson for the governor told The Independent that his pro-life position has been clear and consistent since he was first elected to the Louisiana legislature in 2008, but he's not going to issue a statement about a draft decision that has not been formally issued, and he does not typically comment about bills that have not yet reached his desk. What this means is that Democrat is trying to do a political balancing act and determine what's the best thing for him to say for his own political future, and what's the best way for him to legislate for his own political future. So that's what that is. The measure to be named the Abolition of Abortion in Louisiana Act of 2022, geez, tell us how you really feel, recognizes the sanctity of innocent human life created in the image of God, which should be equally protected from fertilization to natural death, and would fully recognize the human personhood of an unborn child at all stages of development prior to birth from the moment of fertilization, and ensure the right to life and equal protection of the laws to all unborn children from the moment of fertilization by protecting them by the same laws protecting other human beings. Look, I mean, this is, if you're talking about even the morning after pill, which this article implied that, hey, maybe they're going to ban that too, you're talking about gametes and zygotes and pregestation fetuses. And let me bring up these stats again because I think these are really important so people understand what really goes on in this country with abortion. Although most abortions take place early in the pregnancy, 11% of women who obtain an abortion do so after the first trimester. That's at 13 weeks. So 89% of abortions happen in the first trimester. 89%. And they say slightly more than 1% of abortions are performed at 21 weeks or later. So 98%, or a little more than 98% of abortions happen in the first and second trimester. The third trimester would be late term. It's only 2% of abortions that are late term. And who knows of what percentage of those abortions is it because of, rape or something like that. So 98% of abortions happen early in the pregnancy. So the idea, again, there's this misnomer that a lot of people have when discussing this issue, that when abortion happens, it's, like a baby who's going to be born in a day or a week or something, and they're fully developed, and then you, brutally dismember them. That super rarely happens. And by the way, under Roe versus Wade, states are allowed to ban late-term abortion, and they do, and they have. So we have what is effectively like a nuanced, complex, moderate law in place, or it's not a law, it's an interpretation of the Constitution, with Roe versus Wade. And they want to dismantle that and go further draconian and further to the right. Where was I? The bill's text attempts to supersede and treat as void any and all federal statutes, regulations, treaties, orders, and court rulings which would deprive an unborn child of the right to life or prohibit the equal protection of such a right. Well, there you have it. So they're really going far now. They're really going far. You're talking about, and who knows how many states this could happen in, where not only is abortion illegal, but if you get one, you're committing murder. If you're the doctor, you're committing murder. Oh, are you doing it 3 weeks into the pregnancy or 6 weeks into the pregnancy? Super early. There's no, nervous system developed in the fetus yet, so there's no pain. Your pre-viability doesn't matter. That counts exactly the same as killing a 17-year-old kid. That's the future that's coming to you. That's what we're looking at now. Super, super bleak.